Hey yo, what's up YouTube? Today I'm doing a review of a website called Code Nodes, and let me know what you think in the comments. So Code Nodes, it's a build realistic projects weekly. Realistic. Interesting. So it doesn't really specify what kind of projects you're going to be building, but if you look at the domain name, you probably realize that it has something to do with coding. Often we just end up watching coding tutorials but not really practicing what we're learning. Sounds familiar, right? Yeah, it sounds familiar. That's very true. And then there is a video which luckily doesn't automatically play when you load the page. I'll show you that it doesn't, thankfully. And there is a little chat bubble, chat widget down here, and then the call to action says I'm interested. And I assume I would have to watch this video to understand more about what the product is doing. But that's not what I do in this kind of videos because I just break down the landing pages. Um, Under here, under the call to action, it says that the first 25 people who register get lifetime access for $99 euros. The problem is that I don't know how many people registered, so I assume that's almost like a debate, right? Like you get baited into signing up to try to lock in that 99 euro price, which I think it's a little bit snarky. I wouldn't do that. Instead, what I would do is I would try to show that you might be the 24th or 20th person signing up. So let's see what happens if I do this. Okay, then it says we will notify you by email whenever you're eligible for early access. So I still don't know if I'm number 20 or 100 or a million or whatever. Oh, and now as I go back, the video has autoplayed, so this is kind of annoying. When you have videos autoplaying on landing pages, I mean, what happens is that people lose interest because they don't like that. Like it's a common fact that autoplaying videos, it's never a good strategy. What you want to do is using the text, using your header, your H1 and your H2, what you want to do is you want to make sure that people want to click on the video and ultimately understand what your product is all about. So your H1, your header, usually you explain what your project is, what your landing page is rather, or your product, and in your H2 you want to explain how your solution is better than everybody else, and that's why people should want to use your solution over other people. So once you do this, then people are kind of curious, and that's when they want to click on the video. And then at this point here, you talked about benefits. A lot of people at this point would like try and insert some kind of social proof by having like a strip where you have maybe some people's faces, in like a quote and something like that looks something like that to basically create that relationship of trust that this is actually a product that exists and it's beneficial to people who want to practice development skills. Further along on this page, under these benefits, therefore, this is kind of your first section, right? We'll call it section 1 after the hero. Out here, what you usually want to talk about, you want to talk about the problem, right? And this is good because the problem is indeed that there is procrastination. People watch YouTube videos and they never practice. Lack of motivation, that could be definitely another issue. And the outcome is that you want to level up your skills. So these are actually three pretty good categories which make sense, right? Like they're all very true. These are, I mean, a lot of developers can probably feel the same way, right? About YouTube videos, tutorials, and technical articles, where you read the article but you don't feel like you've actually learned anything because you weren't able to apply it. My suggestion for this is instead of making it as a 1, 2, 3 kind of benefits, I would try and keep it as a Z pattern where you have an image and you have some text followed by some text and then an image. And that way you create some kind of pattern. When you like see an image, you see some text, or you see some text first, then you see an image, then you see some text. Sorry, I got this wrong. You first you have text, then you have image, then you have image, then you have text, because your eye goes in this direction, like a Z, right? Like Zorro. And the reason why you do that, it's because you want to empathize with your users. You want to show something that supports that empathy, the text, that paragraph. That usually you want to keep it to about 3 lines or less. The next section, and this is section 2, you use it as how it works, which is perfect. How does your solution solve the problem? And the way you do it here is you have weekly challenge, you focus on delivering collaboration, and you present and get feedback. I would try to shorten maybe this text a little bit if possible, because there's a lot to read, and usually people like they quickly browse throughout the landing page. And then finally, section 3, you have what I think is an example of what a challenge looks like. So this is kind of like how I would change the title here. Our is an example of a challenge, right? And then you have some kind of, a brief and some challenges, some supporting documentation. The problem is that I don't really know if this is a good approach to have this on a landing page, because sure, people will be asking the question, how does a challenge work? But I can see that you've explained it here. Every week, we publish a new challenge for our members. Once you take a challenge, you'll be assigned to teams with other members and can start brainstorming on how to tackle the problem. Now, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It would be really interesting here to see a graph of like a life cycle, right? Where you have like certain steps where you have a challenge, then you get into groups, then you get maybe on Slack or some kind of like communication tool, and then you work together in teams, and then you finally deliver the project to an audience, which I believe is whoever wrote the challenge. Honestly, this would help a little bit because this page has a good amount of information, but there's not enough visual imagery to support what you're trying to sell. Other things that are missing, like I mentioned, are social media proof, or rather social proof, sorry, and something like a lead magnet. What a lead magnet does is basically another way to get people to sign up to your mailing list by providing them something for free. So that usually is like maybe a guide or 20 minutes of your time where you meet with them and you give them something. I don't know what a lead magnet this here could be. For example, you could actually, this one example here, the first challenge could be emailed for free to everybody who signs up to your mailing list. So people not only can see finally into email format what a challenge looks like, but on top of that, you collect an email for you. So ultimately, I think this is an okay landing page. It definitely needs some like graphical love, so to speak. A little bit of like illustration, maybe like screenshots of humans, right? Like a lot of like a human touch is definitely missing, because all it is, this is an online class, an online course that you will be doing in groups. So explain basically these things using imageries, and ultimately, like I said, social proof and some kind of graph and a lead magnet. Hopefully that is enough feedback for you. And okay, sorry, I forgot. This video that autoplays, I don't know why it autoplayed randomly. Please do not do that. So hopefully this is enough feedback for you to go back to the drawing board and try to change some things. I hope this helped you, and let me know by subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.